Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. And today on The View, they started by talking about Stormy Daniels' very detailed testimony about her sexual encounter with Donald Trump during his criminal trial. And the testimony she gave, there was a lot of detail, but I don't think there was anything that hasn't already been made public. Um, she didn't even mention his, mushroom-sized penis. Um, but stupid little Amy Alyssa Fairfather Griffin is like, I'm getting the ick from this trial. It's like they have to establish that this actually happened because he keeps denying that it happened, and her account of it has not changed. It's been she broke the NDA a long time ago. She's been saying the same thing, that this is how it went down, and it's very much, he was trying to influence her, telling her that she could be on The Apprentice. And, they didn't even get into the fact that he told her, oh, you remind me of my daughter. She's smart and pretty. Like, that's so gross. Um, and, and all of this media coverage about it, talking about, salacious details. And it was like, she never said no. She just said she didn't want to be there. She regretted it after, blah, blah, blah. Does anyone understand what disassociation is? Like when something traumatic is happening, you just sort of pretend you're not there. Like this isn't real. It's not happening to me. It's just I'm not there. And you wait for it to be over, and then you get yourself out of the situation. But you're in at the time that it's happening, you just try to say this isn't happening. um it's a very standard, sort of psychological response to something that's traumatic, that you just don't want to accept that's happening. So although it would be difficult to say that he raped her, it was definitely sexual abuse of her. When he's promising all these things, he's 60, she's 27, she's just trying to make a living, and thinking, oh, I could be on TV. He's a TV guy. Um, which doesn't excuse it. She doesn't excuse it. She doesn't say that. She never blames him implicitly. She knows she put herself in a situation that was that she regretted, um, and never really talked about it again. Um, and it's a situation that that has sort of, uh, in a way, ruined her life. It's made the threats against her life. Um, Amy Alyssa Fairbarlow Griffin did make a point about that sort of trauma post event, not really getting enough highlight in the testimony, but it did get mentioned, and the jury's paying attention. They're I think they're getting it. Um, but they they the View didn't talk about the fact that it was in so much detail that the defense tried to ask for a mistrial. They did ask for a mistrial, saying there was so much unnecessary detail in this retelling of this incident, to the point where the judge said, "Well, you know what? You could have been objecting at the questions or objecting at the answers, and you didn't object, and so no mistrial." But telling the prosecution, "Could you keep your witness under control?" Um, and so they did have a little chat with her, and she was trying to get it through it so fast. She didn't want to be there. I mean, I think she wants to participate, but I don't think I think she wants all this to be over. Um, I mean, I would. And so they kept telling her she had to slow down because the stenographer couldn't keep up, and the jury was like, "What'd she say?" Um, and uh, it's not funny. It's not funny. That I mean, and she has to go back on the stand on tomorrow, and it's drawing out for her. Um, but and they didn't talk about him telling her, Trump telling Stormy that she reminded him of his daughter. Like that's the most disgusting part of the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, she's smart and pretty too, and blonde. You remind me of her. Let's fuck. Like, come on. That's so gross. Um, Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is super weird. And Amy Alyssa Farfalla Griffin is missing the entire point of what this trial is trying to get at. They're establishing a pattern. Um, they're doing it very methodically. I just feel like, it's not like I have a lot of experience in a courtroom, but I know it doesn't work like it does on Law and Order. It takes more time than that. Um, we've all watched court television and watched how methodically the testimony is brought out of people. Um, and we'll see what happens in the end. But stupid Trump almost got himself in contempt of court again because he kept audibly saying, well, swear words. He was saying bullshit. He was like, and it wasn't even just loud sighs, which is enough. Um, and so he had to be told to control himself. Like it's such a fucking shit show. Um, and and he just sits and whines and complains about how he's got his gag order and he can't uh campaign. But today's a day off court. He didn't campaign anywhere. He was apparently hosting people who bought NFTs of something he sold. Like, this is all such bullshit. He's such a con artist. And then the View didn't even talk about how the fact that the trial, the documents trial that was set to I think start in May, Eileen Cannon, a judge that Trump appointed, has postponed the trial and did not give an update on when it will be conducted. So that's an indefinite um, uh, postponement, which means most likely that's not going to happen before the election, which leaves the Georgia case open, which is supposed to start, I believe, in August. And they just said that the courts in Georgia will hear the argument about Trump asking for Fani Willis to be removed from the case. So hopefully that can be taken care of quickly enough, and that actually gets started this summer. Because man, this is a giant travesty of justice. Um, but he also uh, he lost 20% of the vote to Nikki Haley in Indiana yesterday, in a primary that she's not even running in anymore. So, both sides of that coin, though, Biden isn't getting 100% of his votes either. There's a lot of protest votes against Biden. And who knows how those votes shake out. I don't know that there's a lot of Nikki Haley voters that are going to um, then cave and vote for Trump. I don't know that there's a lot of Nikki Haley voters that are going to be like, well, I guess it's Joe Biden. Um, but I sure as hell hope the protest votes against Joe Biden in the primary be like, well, it's better than a dictator. Um, at least that's what we have to pray for. Um, yeah, so much going on that the View didn't cover, and they just talked about some, I don't know what bullshit. Although they had Ricky Martin on, and that's never too hard to watch on the TV.